Alright, welcome to Nerd Abiding. I am the Old Worm, and we are here on a new series. I know, I've started series before and not completed them. Heck, this may be the same. What's the point of completing something if nobody's interested in watching it, which I totally understand. No, the new series, and this is a game called Satisfactory. As you can see up in the top left of the screen, you see this is an early access game. This is after update 3, and I picked this up after watching another YouTuber play it and thought it looked absolutely fantastic, and so far it has been. This is a relatively cold playthrough. Relatively, I say, in that I'm starting out a new person. On another account, I have played, and I played for probably about 50 hours, maybe 60. It's hard to say because at one point my production was so slow that I just left the computer running all night. So hours sort of added up. But anyway, I played that, and that I built up my stuff, and it was pretty cool. And I learned a lot and made a lot of mistakes. So I thought, well, let's give this a shot. Now, so this game, if you don't know what Satisfactory is, which I find it bizarre why you would have come here if you don't, Satisfactory is a automation factory building game. The idea is you are an engineer of some description. You have been, you work for a company called Fix-It. You were dropped on this alien planet, and right now I have very little to my name. I picked a bacon flower. That's what that red and white thing is there. I got a bacon flower. Some miners which came with me. It looks like a box of stuff. And just one or two little extra things just to get you started in your building process. And in order to build, you need to essentially, in order to keep building, keep building and grow, you need resources. Not unusual for this kind of game. So your basic resources are that you're going to start looking for are iron primary, and then limestone and copper secondary. Iron, this is the scanner, by the way. This allows you to scan for resources, and it's just showing me that there's iron nearby. I scoped this area out a little bit earlier. So, we're just going to go ahead and do what the game wants. First thing it wants us to do, we need to mine this area. You can hand mine any of these nodes. It's slow, but you can do it. And that's not what you do. There you go. You just kind of hold that down. You get a few resources, but really not too many, and that's just raw iron. Resources of any kind come in 3 different kinds of nodes. There's poor, I think is what it's called, normal, and pure. Or no, I think the first one is it's like impure, normal, and pure. Normal is obviously the ideal. My first playthrough, I started near 2 impure iron nodes. I've been doing okay with that, but this will probably be a lot more efficient. So, in order to build, open up our build menu here. Now, the first things we need to build, well, very first thing we need to build is the hub. Then we're going to need to build a miner to get the ore out of the ground. Well, yeah. And then eventually, and then a smelter to turn that into ingots. And then you have a constructor, which allows you to construct very basic things. I should let you know I'm playing on a bizarre 3-part control scheme. I am primarily a gamepad controller person. but this game doesn't really have full gamepad support. You can do a lot of things, but you can't do everything, and sometimes it's inconsistent, where some menus you can move around in and some you can't. So what I have is but the controller for moving around the world, and if I'm worried about running into anybody, and then I have a mouse for moving around in menus, and then I have a keyboard just for hotkeys that aren't available on the gamepad. So that's my situation. Okay, so we know where our iron is. We need to build a hub. This is kind of like your central building. This is your primary structure, the thing that you're building off of. It's got your lab, your bench, crafting benches, and everything in it. That's what you need to build. Don't worry too much about getting perfect placement. I'll tell you one thing about... Well, don't worry about that. Don't worry about getting perfect placement. It's going to be kind of higgledy-piggledy to begin with. Because there's no grid. There's no snapping. As such. Pardon me. Because there's no grid. There's no snapping as such. Until you're able to make foundations. But that's a little bit... ways away. Not too bad, but a little bit. So, yeah, we're going to go see. I can move around with my gamepad in this. But, and then the hub. Oops, we didn't want to do that. Let's take that off there. Okay. Okay, the hub is... what that crate is going to be like. That was hub in a box, I guess. So, placement. It's pretty forgiving. It's not going to let you place things at too steep of an angle sometimes, but pretty forgiving. And for this, I'm just going to place this, let's say... I want to give a little bit of room because we are going to be, but we're going to be moving more west. So I'm going to put this a little bit to the east. This is going to be uneven ground to build on, so it's fine for the hub. And build. There we go. It appears. The hub, a lot of these buildings can have their own supports and legs, so it really doesn't matter. So even if you put it on uneven ground, it'll extend these things down so it looks like it belongs. This is a little orbital, I don't know, drone that you use to... Well, I'll get to that. And then, let's see, exclamation point. This is... Let's see, this is our storage. We don't need to really put anything in there right now. This is a crafting bench, which is used to do some basic crafting. And then this is your hub. This is your communication with Fix-It. And so there are these tiers, these goals, you know, quests per se at this point in the game. But these are your goals. And for each one of these goals, it costs a certain amount of resources. I guess those resources are in payment for plans or used to make... I don't know. I don't know the in-game rationale exactly. But in order to reach this milestone, which we want to fairly soon, we need to have 200 concrete, 100 iron plates, which we have now, but we're going to use fairly quickly, and then 60 or 100 iron bars. So we're going to select this, and it's going to keep that up in the corner. So we can sort of have that in case we need it. Alright, so first things first, we need to get more iron than we currently want to manually... We don't want to manually mine it, but we don't have quite enough to build a an extractor. All right, it's getting purpley. I may cut this down depending on how dark night gets. But look, real quickly. Oops, wrong button. Okay, real quickly. These things are portable miners. And I'm going to take this. I'm going to put it in my hands. You've got, at this point, one hand slot, one body slot. You won't use your body slot for quite a while. And we'll put that in our hands. And then we're going to place it right here. It will sit on the node, and it's going to mine iron all on its own. See, here we go. And it has some sort of self-contained power supply. It's got a little bit of storage. I think it can hold 50 iron ore, and it will fill up fairly quickly. You could put more over here, but you don't really need to at this point. We'll just let this thing fill up. Let's take a look at how much it costs to build our first miner. So we can build one right now. But we have to power it. Powering it, well, that's another story here. I guess, well, this thing is, let's see, is it full up yet? No, close. So, 4, 5, 6. Keep in mind, you know, inventory management is a thing. Like, oh, I guess it goes up to 100. I guess full stack of 100. All right, so we're going to need power to power a automated miner. In order to do that in the beginning, and for quite a while, you're going to need to collect biomass. So anything you walk up to and it highlights, you should be able to grab, and it will go into your inventory. All this stuff. The other place that I started in was kind of more, you know, grassy plains and such. It had much more green type things. There we go. Now, we're going to come across some things that we can't. Let's see here. Actually, there's a lot more we can pick than I thought. Okay, there are going to be some things. I think this is going to be a good example. This, it doesn't highlight. You will be able to, I assume, I actually haven't dealt with one of these yet. But if it's like a tree, like those palm trees over there, you will be able to cut them down, but you need a tool for that. Tool which we don't have. All right, let's empty this bad boy out. Take that stack, and it'll go back to working. All right. Now, we need to make all of that, all of those weeds we just pulled. We need to make that into something that we can burn. So, the hub comes with two small power generators. These are fueled by biomass, which is going to be this. They won't, and biomass. So you this is just your leaves and your various stuff. This is wood. This is a carapace of a creature which I killed just before I started. So we're gonna, you could stick those raw materials, the leaves and all that, right into the generator, but it's gonna burn through really quickly. What we want to do is compress them down to a biomass that is more efficient and will last longer. So let's go over here, and we're just gonna craft all this. This is basically doing by hand what you'll be doing with automation later on. But to get you started, and sometimes just to augment things, it's good to do it by hand. Okay, so I'm going to collect just some more biomass, and we'll come back when it's light outside. As you can see, it is still night, but I just wanted to show off how beautiful this game is. It's actually fairly bright outside in this part of the world when it's nighttime. In other places, it can be quite dark. However, you know, looking at machines and placement, that can be hard, especially since YouTube tends to compress things down and make them darker. We'll wait till the daytime. Alright, just quickly in the crafting menu here. So we've pulled iron ore out of the ground. But unsurprisingly, you can't just do anything with iron ore. You need to fashion it into ingots. Something that the machine... So, again, all of this is going to be done automated very, very soon. But for now, you just have to do it by hand. Oh, wait, not enough space. I can't do that. Hold on. Say, inventory management. I tell you what, it can be a bit of a hassle at times. So let's put our... Get some stuff. We don't need all of these. And we don't need that. So, alright. So, iron ingots. Just hold it down. If you're using keyboard and mouse, which I think 99% of y'all out there playing on PC will be doing, you can just press spacebar, hold that down to, to make this a faster process. Alright, 59 should be okay for... And it's getting light outside. Lovely. Just in time. So, let's go ahead and grab our miner. Oh, first actually, let's run back over here. Alright, so these things, are fueled by our biomass. We plunk it in there. I'm not going to plop it in there just a second because it will start producing power. And it burns through them at a pretty decent clip. You can only stick a stack of 200 in there as well. So I'm going to wait till I'm done. Okay, so first thing we want to do, grab our miner here. So we will grab all and pick up the miner. Okay, so now the miner. Then in order to place a automated miner, I'm just going to go in here. Miner Mark 1. It's the only option. You can see down there the cost in the lower right. We need a portable miner, some iron plates, and some concrete. Fortunately, they gave us some concrete to start out with. All right. So this, because we're not on a grid system, it's not really a big deal, but ooh, look at that sunrise. So we're going to be building, ooh, I want to see this. All right. Oh, that is lovely. Off in the forest, it looks good, but this sunset, this is something else. So this is our miner. We're probably going to start building our factory a little out this way. And so, let me just turn it around. Here's the one thing I want to show you here, real quickly. So, we place that. Let's say we want to move it. You cannot move objects in this game. From what I've read, I guess from an AMA, the devs said that's not going to change. And it has to do with the way it fixes the state of the item when it's in place. Tech mumbo jumbo. Anyway, but you can, if you decide that you don't want it, you could just destroy it. And unlike most games like this, you can destroy it for the exact same resources you placed down. So you can place it, and if you realize you made a mistake, you're not out anything. Just destroy it, place it a little bit differently. But I'm fine with this placement, so we're going to keep it like that. But do not forget that. No, you don't have to be precious with where you place it. And I have made on my other game, I did my whole beginning factory for a couple of tiers, and then I decided it was a chaotic mess, and I tore it all down and redid it. And you lose nothing, except for time. Alright, so we've got a miner here. This thing is not going to do anything unless it's powered. In order to power it, we need to hook it up to something. So, what you do, get over here, and down at the bottom, those are your hotkeys. And there's actually 10 different hotbars you can use. But I almost never use very many of them. The first thing there is power poles. See, we can place a power pole. Don't worry about placing power poles. You may want to place them for, logistics and organizing things ahead of time. But you really don't need to, because all you need to do is just find the object you want to power. Now, you cannot daisy chain. You cannot do things in serial. So this can only have one thing attached to it. If I have another machine, I can't go from this machine to that machine to a power source. So keep that in mind. You tend to get a lot of power line spaghetti. So try to be careful. So all you do here is get that, and it'll automatically make a power line for you if you need one. If you're just attaching it to directly to a power source like I am, you don't really. I'm actually going to, because I don't. Nah, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to worry about beautification at this point. Actually, before I charge that up here. Okay, so it says right here on the screen, you need 5 megawatts of power to run this. Keep that in mind. Also keep in mind that that is not a governed system in that. I don't know if I'm using that term right, but basically power spikes can happen, and you always want to build a pretty decent buffer above what you need. So this thing it doesn't actually say how much it can produce. So I'm going to put it on standby so it doesn't start right away. We'll just slide our biomass over. So that was going to do 20 megawatts of power. So that's pretty good for the beginning game. Don't need to worry about that. And so we've got it hooked up. We'll start it up. Okay. We've got another one of those if we need to. These are actually they work, but they're better ones you can build before too long. So we have our miner here, and I think that's it for the beginning. We've got this is the basics set up, and next time we will go with a smelter and start getting some automated production. With the miner, you can see, like the other one, it can hold a little bit, but it'll only hold one stack. So you're going to run through it fairly quickly. Ah, what a lovely morning. Perfectly lovely. So, until next time, keep on automating. And watch out for beautiful sunsets. Later.